Well, good morning.
Good morning.
Lovely Oregon day. So, last night, late in the night, Kogen entered into the red room of transmission and received the robe of the ancestors. It's very difficult to say anything directly about transmission. The very famous lines from old Rockhead, Sekito Kisen, it's an important ancestor, right at the beginning of the Harmony of Difference and Sameness, which is a core text of our school. He says that the heart of the great sage of India is intimately transmitted from west to east. The heart of the great sage of India, that's Shakyamuni Buddha, is intimately transmitted from west to east. That word intimate, the most common reading of that character in Chinese is secret. Mitsu is the Japanese pronunciation for it. And it's a very curious word. It's the character I asked my teacher to write for me when I was leaving Japan to come to Oregon or return to Oregon with the dream of starting a temple. And the reason I love that word so much is it points to something which can't be grasped. What is secret in this case is something that is so intimate that you can't simply make it your own. It's already yours, and it can't be figured out. So this character that means both secret and intimate is pointing at what the transmission is about. So when we talk about it that way, it sounds pretty mysterious. It is mysterious, but it's also not uncommon. We know about this mysterious intimacy very directly all the time. You know, where do children come from? I mean, where do they really come from? There's some causes and conditions that are involved in the production of a child, but they're not really produced. They show up. Why does a tree grow in one particular place? Why does a mushroom push up from the ground when it gets wet in the place that it does? Why does the water flow? Why are we all here today? This is completely mysterious and also completely matter of fact. So it's the same with transmission. We can't really reduce it to an explanation or say exactly what it is. And the reason for that is the world is mysterious. I will even use the word magical. And the point of this lineage is to care for and to transmit the awareness of that total mystery. And so the lineage itself turns everything inside out. You can't figure it out. It's not supposed to be figured out. And that's how it is that it can come from generation to generation to be made available to us. It is a rare and special thing for a person to become the holder of that lineage, an ancient way that we take care of this heart that Shakyamuni Buddha so unbegrudgingly offered to us and continues to offer to us. And so what we're left with in terms of the things to be able to talk about is the cool stuff that comes along with transmission. So the first thing I'll point out, you'll see that Kogen is wearing a new robe, a brown robe. This is his transmission robe, was carefully and lovingly sewed. I think Joichi, Daoren, Tatsudo. Did anyone else put stitches in this robe? Jikie, stitches in this robe. So, and a brown raksu is the tradition for a lineage holder to wear a kesa or a raksu that is a kind of brown or golden color. It comes from the time of Shakyamuni Buddha, where really the instruction was to gather cloth, sew it together, or gather cloth, wash it, dye it, and then sew it together as a robe, and to use the common dye, something that's very simple, that's very present. And so they dug the kind of dyeing that was happening at that time was made from the roots of some trees. And so this color, which is called mokuran, which means kind of like tree color, very fitting, is the standard. And it has a wide variety. You'll see wide range of things. And so this robe of the transmission robe, all robes, are seen as the body of the Buddha. So when we put on this robe, it's not just that we're marking ourselves in some particular way. It's a way for us to recognize that this body is the body of the Buddha, and that I should care for it accordingly. Right? I'm not just trying to beat it into shape. I'm not trying to just force my body into the shape of a Buddha, but I'm trying to appreciate the Buddha that is here. That's the purpose of the robe. Another implement that you'll see teachers carry when they're the head of an assembly or teaching is something called a kotsu. And a kotsu, there are many stories about where this may have come from. I think the one that holds the most water but isn't as much fun is the one I prefer, is that as a back scratcher. Many of the implements you'll see, ritual implements that are held, are like symbols of being the attendant of the Buddha. So a whisk to keep the flies away, to keep the bugs away, back scratcher to scratch the back. Right? Probably the one that holds the more water is used for reading edicts from the emperor. So the top of the scroll would be hooked in here, and it would be lifted up. If you think about trying to not go this way, but go this way, and it would look very grandiose to have things lifted up in that way, and then to make the proclamation. In any case, it has become the humble instrument of the Zen teacher. And I don't know anyone who is as intimate with trees or wood as our good Dharma brother Kogen. And so he brought me a piece of yew that you've had for a very long time. And I'm not so much of a carver, but I carved it into this kotsu, which I'm very honored to pass to you. You can judge the craftsmanship later.
Perfect.
And the last thing that is received in this process is what's called a way name. So usually our Dharma name, like my Dharma name's Ejo, which means embracing purity. Kogen's Dharma name is Kogen, which means cultivating the profound, or cultivating the darkness. That's another way you could read it. Not like darkness, but like the mystery. Right? And so teachers will carry another name, which is called the way name. It's sort of like a pen name. And mine is Butsurin, which means a Buddha chimera, which is a kind of magical being. In our lineage, my teacher's name is Butsugen, which means Buddha Eye. That's why we named this temple Buddha Eye. And as many of the way names, not all, but many of the way names include the character for Buddha. So the way name which I've chosen for you, Kogen, is Bukai, which means a Buddha cypress. And I've written a poem. Towering cypress never pushes higher and higher through intimate, dark roots, drawing up heart, water pouring into ever freedom, sky. for Buddha Cypress cultivating the profound on the day of changing robes as a holder of the lineage. Second Abbot, Buddha Eye Temple, Ejo.
Well, thank you all for being here. Hojo-san is very kind, but I'm a simple person, just like all of you. So here we are. And been very fortunate to have such a teacher and Sangha. And really, we support one another and we co-arise. So thank you all for your contributions. That's really what it's about. We're talking about energy this morning, solar energy, wind energy, wave energy, and I was thinking, at Zazen, which I shouldn't have been doing, what about cooperation? That could produce some interesting energy. Thank you all. I wandered through the gate of Buddha Temple some 20 years ago to enter the heart womb of this space of practice of nonlinear time and space, joining the very welcoming Sangha engaged in nurturing the Buddha Dharma. I recall the first day I entered the orb of Ejo, the resident priest and teacher, a mysterious connection at a glance, a bodhisattva with the energy of Venus welcoming me, and as the moons passed, always guiding my wandering mind to this living moment. The luminous leaves of the cherry trees dancing in the wind and rain.
So now we have a little time if you have any protests, words of encouragement or questions for Kogen or for me.
Hi.
It makes me very happy to have this happening for you. And we've been on this path a long time together. And I believe in our various encounters, we have both learned a lot. And I can't imagine this place without you. And
You're so kind. Thank you. I totally agree with all of that. We'll have a coffee soon.
Oh, yes, I'm buying this time.
Oh!
Kogen. Gate, gate, parasum, gate, bodhisvaha. Thank you.
Kogen. I remember first meeting you here, and I remember it feels like many years, but it probably wasn't, but being your assistant Tenzo and being able to learn with you, learn from you. And I am so moved to be on this path with you, and to be your Dharma sister, and to keep expanding this heart connection. Thank you.
Kogen. I have so much respect for you, for your dedication to the practice and to this temple, to all of us. your teacher. You've given and given and given, and like Junmei just said, can't imagine this place without you. And there's part of me that wants to say it wouldn't exist without you. Certainly the beauty of all that you have built here with your own hand. It's remarkable and it's beautiful.
Kogen, I remember when early on in the temple's beginnings, you said, I really want to build a temple. I really wanted to build a temple. It'd been in my mind. And you
had no idea what you're getting into.
Well, you said it.
You got that right.
You said it, and you did it. And I look around, everywhere you brought wood. You brought this incredible collection in its various pieces, and everywhere in the temple you provided this beauty. And I want to thank you for your last installment. The gate over on the north side is exquisite, and especially, I'm so glad you took care of that eyesore over the front door, the box, which people have been thinking about for years. But that is so lovely, that yellow cedar and the way you wrapped it. Thank you.
You're very kind. However, the trees deserve the most credit. And all the life forms that create trees, including all of you. Thank you.
How many rings in the Porter for cedar that you counted the other day?
And this much? 140.
Mm-hmm.
Just that length was 140 years.
Kogen, thank you for your guidance and teaching and helping me take up the care for the gardens and the place and the grounds. Your teaching has been gentle and clear in allowing me to see how you tend and steward the place. My hope is to be able to continue to do that in your honor and with you, and continue to receive your teachings. And also thank you for the personal openings in all the various ways that have helped me continue to walk the path with you.
Thank you for your presence in the ground, on the grounds, and in the grounds. And I got a great inspiration when I first came here from Junmei and Issei and Myowan and others who were here before me tending the grounds. So we'll just keep doing it.
Kogen, I've had this mystery since my first Rohatsu here. I remember going out for work practice and putting on my boots and finding a daffodil bulb in my boot. I'm trying to figure out the last 10 years who put it in there. I think I might know who did it, but
Oh, okay. We'll find them.
I'm going to say thank you for teaching me the wisdom of the trees and how to take care of them, how to serve them, and for many, many generations.
Kogen,
Thank
I think you and I each have I don't know, profound maybe or important relationship with the natural world, with the more than human world. And I just want to offer I would like to connect with you more on that. Maybe we can do some things together as we continue to connect and repair our relationship with the natural world.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kogen,
Hey.
So I want to thank you for showing me a part of wood, which is these beautiful altars, which I don't know how you put up with me for this a long time, but you
It's
have.
easy.
Yeah,
You're good.
yeah. You're kind. You talk about kindness. No, you showed me how to truly see my heart through the beautiful wood carvings and taking care of the altars and your patience really taught me how to see people during it, which is appreciate it so much. So thank you.
Kogen,
Hey.
you have so many gifts that I admire, and I remember the first couple of weeks I began practice here, or not even practice, just starting to come to the temple. I would see you everywhere. I saw you here, and then I would go to a jazz at the wine bar, and you were there, and I would see you at the market, and I would see you in all of these places that were so meaningful to me, and I think I understood something about the spirit of art and creativity and freedom that is in the temple through you, and that you literally hold us in our practice in the way that you have expressed your practice through building. But I want to talk about your cooking. I remember, I can't remember what the season of eggplants, whatever that time of year is, and you had invited some people to share an eggplant parmesan that you had very, very specific, this is the kind of cooking where we all had to leave the kitchen, and then you were just doing something. I could not understand the sounds or the smells that were coming from the kitchen. And we were outside, and everyone was just chatting, and it was really lovely, and you came and you brought out this food, and it was just silence. This incredible silence as people were eating this food, and I'll never forget that. I don't think I've ever experienced a meal that was so full of the person and the people there. So thank you for this.
Thank you for sharing. Let's do it again.
Okay.
I'd like to say that should I? Oh,
Yeah.
my lovely daughter here. She's been the inspiration. Komis! Don't hide.
That's why my daughters don't like coming to the temple. Get called out. Well, how about some cake? Good. So I'd encourage everyone, especially, all Sundays, but especially today, to make a little time to stay around afterwards. There's, I believe, 3 different kinds of cake. Is that true?
Yes.
And coffee, and it's rainy outside, it's warm inside, and just spend some time, of course, congratulating Kogen, or what's the other word? Congratulate and commiserate? That was another one. Celebrate? No, I was thinking of. Anyway, but then also, of course, with each other, and somewhere in that process, there's going to be some end of the year mailer stuffing that starts happening in the front room, and if you're able to stay around and help out with that a little bit, that would be appreciated. But don't rush there. Please enjoy cake and some fellowship time first.